Week 14 in the NFL is here, and you know what that means? Time to dig in and make the most of the last few weeks of this NFL regular season. And of course, the work begins as it always does here on the Splash Play channel. We're going to try to find the must plays for the week, and that means looking at the top projected players. Why is Josh Allen making me make this face? We're going to find out in a moment. We're going to see the top projected plays, including Josh Allen, top value plays as well, according to stochastic data. We'll check out the ownership, see what the chalk looks like so far here on Friday afternoon to see who's going to be the most popular plays of the week. Hop across the aisle, see what DTR thinks is your cash game lineup. Run some sims if they're there. We'll run some stochastic sims as well. I'll try to do a hand build. By this video, guys, we're going to know all the must plays for the week. Week 14. Let's get into it. I hope it was a good slate for you guys. Yesterday, I had, frankly, a very good NBA slate. A not so good NFL slate where I made some brave stands on there. Amon-Ra St. Brown, a thing that flipped meaningfully from the time we did this video until when the slate locked. I tried to jam him in because I did not feel like people were going to update adequately, or they thought he was going to be a decoy. And he wasn't a decoy out there. Definitely a little bit limited. Still had some big plays, but building your lineups around him, even with locking Jahmyr Gibbs, which I kind of hinted I was going to do here on stream. I did that as well for my lineups. Didn't come together well enough, and Ryan Flournoy going for a billion points with CeeDee Lamb getting hurt in that one. That didn't help either. But, you know, it is what it is. We dust ourselves off, get back into it, and nothing else. I do have NBA going 2 p.m. every weekday. GM game was fun last night. Did not win. Let's say it's going to be most slates. We got another GM here. My penis. We had some GMs, and then we have my penis got stomped in both slates. We're on to Cincinnati. It's a tough one. NBA, I thought, how did you get stomped at NBA? I know we talked about in the Discord a little bit. It was the Tyrese Martin part, I guess, for our guy Rob Griffin III. But NBA, it just felt like every lineup was flames everywhere. Top lineup, the 20 max, the 4-point play had 380. It was fucking a lot of scoring yesterday. I had some good lineups, but boy, you really had to have the nuts because the nuts was out there. We got, through the Amon-Ra late announcement. Look, it is what it is. Ultimately, you got to be willing to prepare and get ready for that stuff last minute, as we always do. But that's somebody that plays NBA DFS every night. I'm probably more accustomed to it than we are usually in the NFL. But your top projected plays here for week 14. Let's get into it. We got Josh Allen, 24.8 projection. Josh Allen faced the Bengals. Josh Allen, 7,700. He is expensive. He's going to be incredibly highly owned. Little spoiler alert there, but stochastic has Josh Allen's ownership at about 20% ownership, let's say. It is going to be a pretty big number being hung for Josh Allen this week. Now, obviously, you do have the match with the Bengals, one of the worst pass defenses in football. But frankly, on this slate, there are other defenses that are just as bad. Commanders D is on the slate. Not that anybody wants to play JJ McCarthy, but, they suck too. You have some other ones as well that we'll talk about as we go through. Dolphins still up there in terms of worst pass defenses. Jets not that far off. But Buffalo facing a Cincinnati team that on the year giving up a 0.2 EPA per drop back, 0.22 EPA per pass, 0.1 EPA per rush. Some of the worst marks in football, to their credit, across the board. But for Josh Allen, the big thing to me is the same issue we always have. And fun game to play at home right now. If you guys had to guess, all the pass catchers from Buffalo last week, who played the most snaps? I won't say who ran the most routes. Let's make it even less specific. Who played the most snaps? And that includes tight ends. This is my quiz show theme. It's not a good one. I should be doing Jeopardy, which would have been a normal thing. The winner, Jackson Hawes, played the most snaps last week. He had over 50. In fact, I'll quote you guys the exact numbers here. I think it is worth it for the point I'm trying to make. Jackson Hawes, 52 snaps. Knox, you know what? Knox dead even with him at 53. So you know what? UE does win, but I thought it was 54, 53. It's 52, 53. Still, Hawes and Knox. You know who is behind that in terms of the receivers? This is another fun one, guys. Who is the top snap count receiver overall? Not tight end. It was, in fact, Terrell Shavers, 45 snaps last week. You want to guess who's number 2? I bet you're going to go Khalil Shakir. No, it's, in fact, Gabe Davis, 43 snaps last week. Khalil Shakir last week, 36. Brandon Cooks, actually, no. Keon Coleman, we'll get to before Cooks. Keon Coleman, 33. Brandon Cooks, 17. It's all stupid. It's all stupid. And that's the thing in these tournaments. We want to stack guys up. The whole point of the stacking thing in NFL is that it hits. That's what wins tournaments every single week. Game stacking, all that stuff. More than anything, though, it cuts your parlay of what you have to get right. So What are you going to guess this week? If we're going just off snap share and assuming Dalton Kincaid doesn't play, which he's been limited in practice, he might get back in. And of course, everybody knows the tight ends versus the Bengals matchup. So I think it's overall the fifth highest tight end point scoring on the year would be tight ends versus the Bengals, something like that. Who do you stack up with Josh Allen? We don't know. And if he doesn't get there just through pure rushing and he does have a stack partner with it, you're then competing against people that played that stack and got it right, especially in the large field tournaments. More so than the single entry high dollar stuff. Maybe people won't go for the Allen stack quite as much. But the big issue really is that for Josh Allen, I just don't know who you stack him with. And James Cook is going to be owned a good amount too. You can't really get great leverage there because the ownership is there already. So to me, it's kind of like, yeah, maybe Josh Allen puts up 40 here, but do I want to do the guesswork? Do I want to be fucked if he doesn't get it to Shakir? Do I want to be annoyed when I pick Shavers and then Shakir actually has a good week? Do I want to see Gabe Davis or Brandon Cooks get there in 2 plays? Like, that's what happens with Josh Allen. So it's a massive projection. That's why my face in the thumbnail, my sourpuss face, that face, that's because I don't know who you stack him up with, and I don't know that it's plus EV to chase that in a ton of lineups. So we'll see what we get in the Sims and all that. Josh Allen, great projection, but expensive too, and you can save a lot of money playing other QBs for sure. Like stacking Allen with Cook, I'll tell you what, that's not going to be very sneaky either. I think the Davis snap share was because they ran so much. Not really. I don't know why he's not. I mean, he's not a great run blocker. He's also pretty injury prone. So I think Shavers, you might say, would be getting more snaps because of them running a lot. But I don't read into stuff that much. So why Tyrod doubles are the way. The thing is, they're not even that cheap anymore either. We'll talk about that when we get there. Devon Achane at number 2, our chalk play of recent weeks, $8,800 salary, now facing a Jets team that is also not particularly good at anything. For Achane, he looks as good as he always does. 0.08 EPA per rush. Not super efficient in the pass game with a negative 0.08 EPA there, but that doesn't matter too much with a guy getting 6 targets a game in full point PPR. 3.3 red zone opportunities facing a Jets defense, giving up a 0.03 EPA per rush. Doesn't get better in the red zone. Target rates, RB is a little bit low from the Jets defense, only a 15% target rate. Really soft match would be about 20% target rate to running backs. A big issue for Achane, I think, is the price tag being high. But certainly, I think he might get into a good amount of lineups here. We'll see what the RB chalk is. And then for Stochastic, I think right now they have Aaron Jones really highly projected because of the matchup with the Commanders. And he's much cheaper, but he might not play this week as well. So Devon Achane, I think he'll be a good tournament option at 8,800. And certainly a guy where hard to imagine him not giving you 20, high teens to 20 no matter what. So definitely one of those players that I feel like pops into optimizer lineups, sim lineups a lot more than you ever prepared for. And the matchup, no issue with it really. Number 3, we got Jamar Chase, 2.7x value for him, $8,200 salary. T. Higgins testing his way out of the concussion protocol. It looks like he's back in practice. Seems to be on pace for that. For Jamar Chase, though, a 22 fantasy point projection, $8,200 salary. Joe Burrow back in, dropping back a lot. Also, looked pretty good based on what the film bros were saying, it seemed like. And, what I saw too, but, whatever. Who for as little as that matters. But Joe Burrow being back, Jamar Chase in, 22 fantasy point projection. I think there's going to be a lot of ownership coming this way. I think there is going to be a lot of Josh Allen and Jamar Chase paired together. But, hard to ever critique Jamar Chase other than the fact that he's 8,200 and certainly there are other guys in that price range you can go to. Jonathan Taylor, 21.8 projection for him, $9,300 salary, facing Jacksonville. Not a bad total for Indianapolis in this spot, with them getting 20, where are they at? They're 24 and change implied. 24 implied points, Jacksonville at 22.5. Jacksonville's defense is pretty good. A little bit better versus the pass and the runs. That should benefit Jonathan Taylor here. Daniel Jones' lack of mobility as well with that fractured fibula. Also seemingly going to help Jonathan Taylor long-term, securing some of those red zone opportunities that sometimes could flow away to Daniel Jones when he is at his most mobile and frisky, I suppose. But Jonathan Taylor, kind of like JSN, a little expensive here, and to a lesser extent, Devon Achane. These guys are all priced up a good amount, all of them around 8,500 to 9,500. Taylor at 9,300. It's a steep price tag here, even though certainly against Jacksonville should be a competitive game, and the total's not bad for a team on the road against a good defense. JSN at number 5, big dud last week. The bummer of the Tyrod stacks that I touted across Stochastics Live before Lock Show on Sunday. That hitting, it allowed me to afford Puka Nacua, who did nothing. It allowed me to afford JSN, who did even less. But JSN getting a nice bounce back spot potentially versus Atlanta here. Atlanta, a team that is not great defensively and versus the run, 0.06 EPA per rush allowed, one of the worst marks in the league there, but 0.01 EPA per drop back, 0.01 EPA per pass allowed, also towards the middle of the league too. So for a team like Seattle, get well spot here for Sam Darnold, who as predicted here, did underperform last week against a team that knew him pretty well. Going against Atlanta, much softer matchup. JSN getting back on track as a guy that has hit pretty much whatever he has been a reasonable price tag. No issues going to him at a 9K salary. And, Atlanta, maybe a tough time keeping up with Seattle's defense, but if they do keep up, certainly JSN press and action a little bit more because of guys like Bijan. Drake London, I don't know if he's going to go, but hopefully they can get enough success on the Atlanta side to keep JSN viable throughout. Top values now, we're going to sort by that metric, see what Stochastic has for us here. Stochastic does not have Jaden Danielson, but it does seem like our sweet boy is going to play. Matchup on paper, not great. Total for Washington as well at 20 points does kind of seem like a Mariota total. Mariota, if it were some reason Jaden's not cleared for contact, Mariota threw 50 passes last week against Denver, so seems like the script may be changing a little bit as a team that's been so run first because they were performing well, outperforming expectations. Now they are not good, and they know they're not good, so they're passing a little bit more, which could be good for Mariota if he starts. Hopefully, it will be good for Jaden if he starts. But that's one that's hanging over our heads right now. I assume Jaden plays. Reports are that he's trending towards playing, but certainly cannot be. And if he doesn't play, Marcus Mariota looks decent. Minnesota's defense in the last couple of weeks getting a little bit worse on paper, mostly because the offense can't keep up and keep teams off the field. But a negative 0.02 EPA per dropback, negative 0.03 EPA per pass allowed by the Minnesota pass defense. A little bit better than league average. Run defense a little bit softer, but that doesn't matter because Washington has really no running game at this point with Chris Rodriguez, the lead horse. So Mariota, if he is in, Jaden, if he's in, I probably wouldn't play, but you could. Not a bad matchup on paper versus Minnesota. Not a great one either. JJ McCarthy, great matchup for him going against the Commanders defense that is still one of the worst in football, giving up a 0.22 EPA per drop back, 0.25 EPA per pass, 0.06 EPA per run play. QB runs as well. They're giving up about 1 point in EPA every time a QB runs against them, which doesn't matter that much for JJ McCarthy, but the point is they're bad versus everything. So for McCarthy here, I think stacking him up with Justin Jefferson, not a crazy thing to do. Jefferson has been actively bad this year. Negative EPA per target for any receiver is not good for a guy who we think is good like Jefferson. A negative 0.1 EPA per target when Addison's at 0.15 per target. Hawkins is at 0.14. He's not playing well either. Like the QB play is not good. Jefferson is also not playing well compared to his teammates, but he is still getting decent work with 8.8 targets a game. This is a shitty defense for the Commanders. So McCarthy, I think, stacked up with Jefferson, doubled with Addison or Hawkinson. I think you can take that shot this week, even though McCarthy, not particularly fun. Jade coming back to bring 11th place best ball teams up to 9th. I think for me, it's more like 9th place to 7th place is what I'm seeing for my portfolio. But we'll see what we get when the best ball playoffs hit. Geno Smith, 14.3, $4,300 salary facing Denver. I'll tell you what, man, I'd rather play Tyrod, rather play McCarthy, rather play Shuck versus Tampa Bay. I don't see it for Geno here versus Denver. They did allow Mariota to hang in that game. The Commanders last week forced OT, so maybe shitty QBs can get results, but Geno bad, Denver good. It's simple enough for me. I don't foresee getting there very much. Tyrod Taylor, 4,900, our boy. I don't know if the field's going to go there this week. Projection not high enough. I think it's 16.2. Salary a little bit too high at 4,900. But Tyrod's been good. I feel like an asshole saying stuff like this. The total for the Jets this week, despite facing the Dolphins at home, 19.3 implied. But Tyrod, respectable, 78.5% catchable ball rate. Honestly, not that great in EPA metrics. Negative 0.01 EPA per dropback. For a guy who runs, that should be a little bit better. Negative 0.07 EPA per pass also should be a little bit better for Tyrod. That said, he's dropping back. He handles pressure incredibly well, which the Dolphins do generate at a good amount. They blitz 30% of the time, hurry the QB 10%, sack the QB 7. It's really the only thing that Miami's doing well on the year. Kind of like the Cowboys, coincidentally, like another team that gets pressure or they get their ass kicked in the pass game. That's Miami. Similar concept there. But Tyrod under pressure, a negative 0.2 EPA would be one of the best marks in football. Would have him right there with Mahomes, right there with Dak Prescott, who played yesterday and again acquitted himself pretty well under pressure. Would say that for Tyrod, willing to go here again, but especially relative to a Geno Smith, relative to a JJ McCarthy. I think they offer similar things. For Tyrod, though, you have your stack partners all under 5K. I think it's a good match for Mechie this week. I think it's a good match for Taylor this week to bounce back, in particular for Mechie. But Mitchell's going to be owned. He's not too expensive at 4,600. The Jets stack remains cheap. It is not as like dumb cheap as it was last week, where you get whatever you want around it. It's now kind of appropriately priced, I think. Tyler Shuck at 4,600 facing Tampa Bay. As we've talked about a lot on this stream, Tampa Bay's pass defense is not as bad as people think, but it's still pretty bad with a .06 EPA per drop back allowed, .07 EPA per pass, 81% catchable ball rate, a little bit lower than league average as well, or a little bit higher rather, but worse for the defense. Tyler Shuck, not playing super great either. Definitely a worse version of Tyrod than the numbers we just cited there. But, he's got Chris Olave on the team. He's got Juwan Johnson, Vele, who we talked about last week, playing a ton of snaps. He hit in a major way last time out, taking advantage of being out in the field a bunch. With Tampa Bay as well, expect them to put up points here. Total's not massive, but 25.3 implied for Tampa Bay, and a real commitment to getting Bucky Irving the ball last week. I think they should benefit from sticking to that plan again this week versus New Orleans. You're also getting healthier. Godwin looked great last week relatively. Egbuka's still out there a good amount. You have a shot of getting Mike Evans back, though he's not currently in the data set. I think Tyler Shuck, the recipe is there for him to be playing from behind, having to drop back a lot. The issue is it is Tyler Shuck dropping back a lot, and that can go either way. But decent value here. I get it. And again, it's another week for me where I'm cool, I think, not playing Josh Allen and dumpster diving at QB. That has now paid off 2 weeks in a row, where the chalk is flowing up, paying a ton at QB, and I'd rather get, didn't work out last week to be able to afford, like I mentioned, Puka Nacua and JSN, but I was able to get star players in by going with the cheaper stack that still had similar ranges of outcomes, similar upside for the pass catchers. I think that's the case in terms of how I'm viewing the slate again. Josh Allen, though, a top value, number 6 overall, despite his incredibly high salary. Let's go to ownership next, guys. Let me refresh this. Looks like I'm not logged in, but I am. All right, here we go. Hey guys, if you get any value out of this video, please do help me out. Please hit that like button, subscribe. Last week's video, the must plays for week 13, was one of the most watched videos in channel history, including many of the very popular best ball drafts with Pete back in the day. So hey, that's good stuff here, but help me out. Got to keep fighting the YouTube algorithm. Hit that like button, subscribe as the channel grows, as more and more people see it. I also got to fight the people that will downvote because they go, Don, he's not telling me who to pick. And they also move their hands like this as well. But please help me out. Hit that like button, subscribe. Ultimately, I'm just one dude doing the best I can to give you guys the best look at the data, the products around the industry to help you make smart decisions here. But I need your support here. Please hit that like button and subscribe. Check out Stochastic too. 15% off promo code SPLASH. Link down below. Best deal they have going right now for any package, weekly, monthly, cheap stuff, expensive stuff. Any sport as well, not just NFL. If you want to get NFL and NBA, you could do that with the promo code SPLASH, 15% off. Does support the show too. Half the money you pay to them comes to me. So please do click that link. And if you're on Twitter, check the link in my bio as well. You can see it on there. And join the channel premium stream, which you'll be redirected to on here at the end of the video. $5 to join if you can access that premium stream and my data sheet here where all the EPA numbers, all the advanced analytics stuff, avoided tackle rate, catchable ball rate. You want to get that on a data sheet, you can get that as well for me. The exact same sheet I use for my process here on stream and on Stochastic. So join the channel, support the show here, and shout out to all you guys that do join every week. I don't even know what I said that this ties into, but they also end up in prison. Yeah, that sounds about right. Sounds about right for a million different things. So Josh Jacobs, expected mega chalk here, according to Stochastic, 32% ownership going against Chicago. The total does seem kind of shockingly high in favor of Green Bay, especially if you think Chicago has shown something with their recent run as the top of the NFC. But Green Bay, a 6.5-point favorite at home. Chicago's run defense, flat 0 EPA per rush allowed, definitely a little bit softer versus the pass. I don't know that we need Josh Jacobs here this much. I mean, the price tag's definitely a little bit cheap at 6,800 for a guy getting 4 red zone opportunities a game, 2.3 of which are inside the 10-yard line. Overall, 20 intended touches a game. It's all good. Green Bay, we know, prefers to run for sure, but I don't know. I'm not crazy about this Josh Jacobs ownership. Saw it before the show and was like, I don't really get it. And I still, even looking through the numbers here, I don't really get it. Like, Chicago's defense is not good, but they don't stuff the run very much either. A 15% stuffed run rate would be towards the bottom part of the league. A little bit better in the red zone, though, so they might not be totally awful. And Josh Jacobs, kind of just a dude. So, I don't know. 6,800, I'm sure it makes lineups work. That's probably a part of it. And a good projection or good enough projection for him as well. But Jacobs, to me, if he's the mega chalk, I think we could play some other guys and not feel bad about it. Jamar Chase at 8,200, 27% ownership. Again, very chalky here. That Buffalo Cincinnati game stack, going to be highly owned. Wouldn't shock me to see it come up in the cash game builds either. We'll see what we get when we run that ETR data in a moment. But Jamar Chase, not a bad matchup on paper going against Buffalo, largely because of the fact they'll be playing from behind. Buffalo's pass defense is pretty good, though, with a negative 0.07 EPA per drop back, a negative 0.08 EPA per pass allowed, a low 77% catchable ball rate. A lot of slot targets, though, which will benefit Jamar Chase as opposed to T. Higgins. Jamar Chase getting roughly 3 times the amount of slot targets as Higgins gotten on the year, whereas they're pretty close to even out wide. So really, in terms of the advanced stuff with Jamar Chase and just knowing it's Jamar Chase, you can play him if you want. It's a lot of Buffalo Cincinnati. I'm especially paying all the way up for Josh Allen and Jamar Chase, and I assume people will do that together based on the ownership. So, no issue with Jamar Chase, really, especially with Joe Burrow back, but I don't know, maybe just play Joe Burrow and Chase and not play Josh Allen. I think that could also be logical. Puka Nacua, 8,700, 25.5% ownership. Matchup versus Arizona here going to be something where we should see Puka Nacua have a shot to be in a competitive game throughout. That said, he was getting 4 quarters of ball last time out versus Carolina, and the big thing with this spot for the Rams is that you have a lot of touchdown equity flowing Devontae Adams' way. But certainly after Adams went nuts last week, I'd be cool going back to Puka Nacua. The hard part is that, usually it goes the other way where the guy who hit last week is higher owned this week. Here, it's Puka Nacua being chalky again, and he's still, getting targets at a high level, basically as high as anybody in football. 9.6 targets a game, 37% target per out run rate, but only 1.1 red zone opportunities a game for comparison. Devontae Adams at 2.3. It's at the 10-yard line. It's 0.6 per game for Puka compared to 1.7 for Adams. That is a touchdown equity flip. Puka after a down game, I don't hate being back there. I just wish it was not mega chalk. MHJ is still in the data set. So Michael Wilson, not going to pop up as much as he would if you did have Harrison out. But Harrison has missed practice the last couple days. So is Dortch. But Harrison has missed with his heel. So definitely something to watch out for, that Michael Wilson could become very chalky again. And I'd be okay with it. I think if you get Marvin Harrison out, I think Michael Wilson, as much as you want to play him, is fine. The field will certainly own him enough. James Cook, 23.5% ownership expected here in the spot for Cincinnati. So what happens when we have Josh Allen chalk? Usually your lever is to go to James Cook. Hope that he hits the upside. It's been a thing that's won people milli makers in the past. Now when you have both guys 20% owned, there's really not leverage to be had here. And anybody who's like, I'll get less owned by playing them together, you also are not, he was ruled out shortly. Yeah, definitely not updated then. But yeah, so if Harrison is out, Michael Wilson's going to come up. ETR might have that updated by the time we get there, but Stochastic definitely does not. For James Cook here, the big thing is that I think that when you have Cook and Allen both more than adequately owned, it almost makes sense to not play either. Certainly the upside is huge for both, but if the field's there, the upside's not the same, I think, for large field tournaments. So you want to be with James Cook and Josh Allen, play him at 20%. But I think going above on both is not necessarily going to be the best move. Devon Achane, $8,800 salary. Can you guys hear the dog barking, by the way, through? Because she's got to be in the living room. I'm not near the living room, and I'm also downstairs, but I feel like it's loud enough that it's probably coming through on mic. And I apologize for it as well. Devon Achane, 20% ownership here. Good amount of ownership for Achane. Thought he might be coming in a little bit less owned with that price tag at 8,800. But certainly good game script against the Jets. Jets should be competitive enough here. Achane can break big plays against them. Defense has looked better for the Jets. Ironically, since trading Quinnen Williams and also getting rid of Sauce Gardner, it seems like getting rid of those guys that were overpaid vets has sort of made the overall situation a little bit better for the defense. But basically for Devon Achane, it's a lot of ownership here. I don't mind it. But Bucky Irving, a little bit less owned. Kenneth Walker, I would not go to, as we talked about last week. And I think that was true enough, as he did not get a touchdown. I believe Charbonnet did again. Running back is not great this week, but what I would watch out for, Aaron Jones limited in practice. If you were to get Jordan Mason going instead of him, that would be a nice thing. I think that would consolidate that workload. But Aaron Jones at 18% looks good. And I'm glad you guys aren't hearing the dog. She will not stop barking, and it's fucking driving me nuts. I would love it if Alex would shut him up, but she must be doing something else too. Oh, fucking kitty, man. I would want to fucking punt this. Just constant woofing. All right, let's go to ETR next. Let's distract me with more data. So the dog won't shut up. And I'm the only one who can hear it, so it feels like the telltale heart. She's not in heat. She's neutered. She was neutered before we even got her. So she is definitely not in heat. She just hears noises outside and needs to bark at them because she's heard our neighbor dogs doing that, and they have rubbed off on her, and it is the worst thing in the world. Like, the only dog I hear is a dog inside me. Thank you, DeWitt. I appreciate that. All right, let's change the projection here so we get our cash game builds. 201. 931. Here we go. Of course, the goal in this process is not just to see the cash game build, but to understand what people are getting naturally with data like ETRs. It does seem like ETR is updated for Michael Wilson, so we'll have that look at things here. Before I get to this part of the process, guys, one more ask. Please do hit that like button. Please subscribe. Goes a long way for me here. I'm just one guy doing the best I can, fighting the YouTube algorithm, giving you guys the best info, the best insights that I can for my now 7.5 years of doing this content professionally. So please help me out. Hit that like button, subscribe, and of course, check out the solver if you want. Stochastic, same things. Links down below for all of them. And join the channel if you want to see the premium video and support the show. $5 to join. Get my data sheet. You get the premium video coming up at the end of this one where you'll get automatically directed over there. All right, so your cash game lineup. It's Allen and Cook. I don't see how you play these guys. I really don't. Like, one of my rules of thumb, which I think has paid off, I want to say every week for a main slate this year. I've only started really saying it, though, the last 6 weeks. But, like, don't play the cash game QB in large field tournaments. It's an obvious one, I think, but just always playing the upside of other stacks hitting, getting that parlay cut by pairing other QBs, other receivers that are less owned. It's usually a good move. And I think for Allen being 8K and being your cash game QB here and being the guy who's going to be the highest owned QB and one of the highest owned we've had on a main slate really this year at 18% ownership, I just don't think it's a good play to play Josh Allen. Doesn't matter for Cincinnati. I just don't see it. So Allen and Cook make it. Josh Jacobs makes it your chalk RB, sure. AD Mitchell is making it as well. Workload's been great for AD Mitchell. He's still getting targeted a bunch overall between the Jets and the Colts, getting targeted 29% of the time he's running a route, which is like an elite target share, especially holding steady across two teams. His snap count was also up meaningfully. I believe he played 57 snaps last week. So for AD Mitchell right now, I think that a solid play here, but definitely seeing him in the cash game. It makes me think more like, can I stack the Jets with Mechie? Hope that he plays better than he did last week. We had the drops. He's so bad, including some high value, like touchdown opportunities he dropped. Mason Taylor in a good tight end matchup. Can he get there? See Mitchell come up top, man. I just don't know you want to play Mitchell. Much like QBs, like I don't know you want to play Mitchell when he's coming up in cash games. It looks like he might be mega chalk. Michael Wilson, ETR data is going to push him hard. They liked him even last week with Marvin Harrison in. That did not pay off. That said, with Harrison out now, as I am the KY helpfully pointed out, ruled out during the show, Michael Wilson going to look like a much better play, and he has a 17-point projection on him that I assume is going to make him a very chalky play with ETR data and probably stochastics as well. Christian Watson, 5,200, he makes the cash game lineup. Tyler Warren, Kyle Pitts, Titans D. So Mitchell, I'm not surprised by. Jacobs, I'm not surprised by. Wilson, I'm not surprised by. Allen and Cook, a little bit surprised by. But that's your cash game build as of right now. 12:30 p.m., let's say, on the East Coast on Friday. Josh Jacobs in 100% of these lineups. Kyle Pitts at 100% as well. Michael Wilson at 100%. James Cook at 100%. This does not happen very often either. We have 4 players who are making all the top 25 optimal lineups. My guess, again, would be that these 4 get pretty overplayed in ETR data because they're allowing you to get pretty much whatever it thinks is best around that. It's a lot. It's a lot of 100% guys. I don't think we've had 4 this entire year. Maybe not 4 the entire time I've done the stream, if I'm really thinking about it. But you're getting Cook and Jamar Chase coming up naturally as well. So again, a really highly owned pairing that's also coming up in optimal lineups. That's going to make the ownership a little bit tough. You're also getting at least 2 Packers in about 52% of these lineups. So let's say about half of the top optimal lineups have at least 2 Packers in it. Seemingly usually Watson and Jacobs. Are we going to put on our main slate boosts here to try to get some more game stacks, stuff like that? I'll put the bounce rate on too. So we maybe get some different looks at players here. And let's put on variants. And we'll build 250. We'll run a sim because ETR sims are ready for the main slate. And we'll get a look here on what looks good. Thankfully, the dog is shut up, by the way. It's my telltale heart of a dog barking. I finally know peace. Also, shout out to, I don't know, this is not, this is me just talking to fill time, but this is not a good transition. But shout out to Netflix, by the way. Very excited that Netflix won the bidding. I feel like the only person on the internet excited about it. Maybe because I actually know people that work at Netflix, who I think very highly of. But Netflix acquiring Warner Brothers should be good news for the DC universe, I think. But curious to see how that turns out. $82 billion, by the way, was the acquisition price for that overall, including stock and cash, which, man, I know people like hate $1 billion company kind of things, but I think going to Netflix is better than Paramount. If you enjoy content that's not going to be skewed a certain way, probably got the win there. It's crazy how much money Netflix is worth, though. That's one thing. And I know that for my friends' salaries, and I don't think I'm not giving anything away here, but I have friends that are like manager level at Netflix who are making $400K a year. I think they've leveled those out a little bit because Netflix always made so many profits. They would pay employee salaries are like crazy high, but it's always stood out as like, God, like if you're fucked if they ever like really, private equity it and like start shaving salaries. And they did that enough now, and like, people, the people I know have maintained their jobs. But yeah, next start on Netflix to rewatch Sopranos. That's the weird thing, is that they're going to keep HBO Max going, are the latest reports as well, which makes sense because a lot of people are paying for HBO Max, a lot of people paying for Netflix, and now you have them paying for both. At a certain point, I presume that does consolidate, and I'm sure they're going to share catalogs. But you might have a thing where it's like you have to still have HBO Max to get the new stuff. Like I watch Smiling Friends an uncomfortable amount because I just need background noise, and cartoon characters yelling at each other is what's good background noise for me. But yeah, no, I think it's good. I think it's better. Like, as long as Netflix uses it to like get movies in theaters and have that infrastructure, I think it'll be a good thing. But people like always get so doom and gloom. I feel like I can't look at Reddit anymore for anything, because it's just people like the most hostile version in response to everything. And it's like the liberal version of hostile too, but it's like, it's just them being like, oh, this is the worst thing ever. It's like, oh my God, just fucking, it'll be fine. You think Netflix is going to just ruin everything you like because it's like, that's not going to make it more money. K-pop Demon Hunters made a shitload of money in theaters. Whoever thought that about the DVD rental company? Yeah, they pivoted to streaming in the right time. I was very early to Netflix because when I was in college, I think is when they launched, or when it was maybe somewhere around that time period. But it was like starting to get popular then. And I used to get the DVDs, and it was like so exciting. And then there's also like the video game version of it, GameFly. I don't know if that still exists. That was a good time in content, I feel like. Watched a lot of stuff I probably wouldn't watch otherwise because of having Netflix. I'll always hold Netflix in a soft spot, even though like I'm absolutely paying too much. Like we pay for Netflix, Disney Plus. I'm not paying for ESPN. I refuse to do that, but YouTube TV as well. We cut down from Paramount a couple, but it's like you pay for so many streamers now. It's like not fucking worth it. But they all have like one or two things I like to watch. Prime Video. To pay them for NBA too. Fucking mess. Anyway, your top lineups according to ETR. And that's our tangent, by the way. We have to let the Sims run, guys. So unfortunately, I just got to fucking fill in and do my late night host monologues during those time periods, and they're not pre-written, so sometimes just me wanting to talk about Netflix. We got Jacoby Brissett here, Quinshon Judkins. This is not what I expected to be the top lineup. Kenneth Walker, Gabe Davis, Michael Wilson, Puka Nacua, Mike Gesicki, Trey McBride, Colts D. So we are not getting our chalky Bills up top. We're not getting Jamar Chase up top either. We're theoretically getting leverage against him with Mike Gesicki. And we're playing Kenneth Walker, which I still don't think is a good play, no matter how much the fucking products keep feeding him to you. He doesn't have a guaranteed role. Judkins versus Tennessee. That's not bad. Number 2, Tyler Shuck, Derrick Henry, Kenneth Walker again, Jalen Waddle, Chris Olave, Devon Vele. So double stack here, sure. Tyler Warren, Ashton Jeanty, Browns D. These teams really no real feel for it, in my opinion. Number 3, Tyrod Taylor, James Cook, Aaron Jones, A.D. Mitchell, John Mechie, Jalen Waddle, Tyler Warren, Breece Hall, triple stack. Broncos D. I will say that Breece Hall, he was out there a bunch, seemingly put some distance between himself and Isaiah Davis last week. Davis only played 8 snaps. Breece played over 50. And then you get a matchup here where they don't allow a lot of deep balls. Do the Dolphins defense. Only a 4% deep ball rate, which is pretty low. I think it's possible they kind of get beaten underneath a little bit more. That could be Breece Hall territory. I like the stack. I think it's more interesting to me if you go Tyrod, Mechie, Breece, and maybe Mason Taylor. Because I think fading A.D. Mitchell and just going that production that he had last week flows around and you get a couple guys hitting. I think it's not a crazy thing to look for. Number 4, Trevor Lawrence, Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs, Terry McLaurin, Jacoby Myers, Michael Wilson, Brenton Strange, Tyler Warren again, Packers D. All right. I mean, you're getting the Jags Colts game stack, I guess, in a noteworthy way. And number 5, Geno Smith. ETR cannot give up the ghost on Geno Smith. Geno Smith, Devon Achane, James Cook, Emeka Egbuka, Trey Tucker, Pat Bryant, Brock Bowers, RJ Harvey, and Titans. Woof. Okay. Those are lineups. Less competition usually means lesser quality, leads to fewer innovations. True, but I mean, look, the one who should have acquired the catalog or all of it was Comcast. I don't know why they didn't put more money in because they need it. Like Peacock has no reason to exist anymore. Like I unsubbed from Peacock when they lost WWE, and I'm sure I'm not like, what else do they have? Like, has anybody signed up for Peacock like that's watching something real? But I don't know. I think Netflix, it comes down to companies' motivations themselves. Like, I don't think Netflix stifles innovation. I think they get a bad rap too for giving up on shows after a couple seasons. But that's personal beliefs. Your top ROI players here, we got Rashid Shaheed, 155% ROI. He's barely being played. Geno Smith, 130% ROI. He's also barely being played. Malik Washington, same thing at an 86% ROI, barely played, but when he does hit, you seemingly win some money. Jalen Naylor, Brian Thomas. Brian Top Boy, one of these things does not belong. Brian Thomas, how far the mighty have fallen, but 82% ROI and 2% exposure. Out of your chalkier plays, you're still getting positive ROI lineups of Michael Wilson, but they're not overall a high ROI across them because of how chalky he is. James Cook, same thing. Josh Jacobs, same thing. Tyler Warren seems like the best chalk. Kenneth Walker DTR data as well, coming up a little bit, but yeah, those ETR lineups, man, sometimes I don't know what they're going for. This is one of those days. Contest generator here. Poker Face is entertaining, but it's not on Peacock anymore because they're apparently like trying to shop it with Peter Dinklage as the guy now. That's the show, right? I think that they're doing that with. It's interesting times in streaming. That's, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff I see happening right now that I feel like I kind of thought was going to happen a couple of years ago in streaming and in general. One of the things that I thought was going to happen a couple of years ago is what I see on LinkedIn every day is like people, especially in the space that I'm in, like as a content creator, editorial person, marketing, all that, people like hunting for jobs. That's part of why I really focused in on Splash Play a couple of years ago, even when I was doing my probably stuff. It was like, I don't think there's going to be jobs. Like, period. I don't think there's going to be jobs. I don't think there's going to be jobs for people like me. So I'm glad I got ahead of that. But yeah, anyway, that's neither here nor there. It's a lot of things stewing in my brain while the Sims load today. Guys, show some love if you can. Hit the like button, subscribe. Goes a long way here. Again, only reason these channels are growing as much as they are is you guys are enjoying the content. It's resonating. I've also adapted what I do here on stream to fit your guys' feedback and what you guys need out of these streams. So help me out. Keep growing that process here. Keep pushing this as high as we can climb by hitting that like button and subscribing here. Of course, do support the channel. $5 to join. You guys know the deal is we're setting up the sim. Check out Stochastic too. 15% off promo code SPLASH. To be real with you guys, Stochastic put in for the affiliate payment for the month. I'm getting the largest affiliate payment I've ever gotten in a month by like a good margin. So I appreciate that, but let's keep going here because I unfortunately have to keep doing it every month to keep this thing moving and growing and myself surviving. So hit the like button, subscribe, join Stochastic. Check out the solver if you want. Do all the stuff. Nolan here getting OMG, getting a very meta. What if we're all just Sims running Sims? Possible. It's possible. I run mental Sims on things in life. I think through the ROI. I think through what the highest, most plus EV plays are. Oh God, we're getting Geno on here too. Walker to 60% of snaps. The butthole injury still seems sketchy. It's mostly that he doesn't get the goal line work. Like, you can't be a chalk play. And I've said this before, and it's been a way that last year, I feel like in particular, got a few things really right when players were mega chalk. Like, you can't be a chalk RB if you don't get like legit goal line bell cow level work. And that's not the case, for Kenneth Walker, but he's explosive. It's just, why this week again? Shout out Robert for the turn for the super chat. Have some money. Thank you for that. Everybody should be so kind, but I appreciate Robert for the turn. Hopefully you always know that. But I appreciate all of the regular members here. But all you guys that help me keep doing this, that's always the goal. And then this NFL product does run on for me through the Super Bowl, guys. So strap in. Every other channel starts to dip off a little bit. I go through the playoffs. I'm still doing every slate as best I can. So we'll keep doing the work as long as we can here. Geno Smith, your top ROI lineup on Stochastic. Ugh. Josh Jacobs, his former teammate. Well, actually, no, former Raider. But not former teammate. Aaron Jones, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Jamar Chase, A.D. Mitchell, Dawson Knox, Brock Bowers, Vikings. So we are getting the Geno single with Brock Bowers, which if you're going to play a shitty QB like that you don't really want to play, doing the single stack certainly is one way to make it make sense. You're playing a lot of the chalky plays around him. A lot of good plays as well with JSN, Jamar Chase, A.D. Mitchell, Brock Bowers. Good matchup for Dawson Knox. I get why you're getting Geno here, but also like fuck Geno, no thank you. Number 2, we got Sam Darnold after his dud game last week. Buying in today, or buying in this week, not a crazy thing. Bucky Irving, I was shocked. They gave him 19 touches in that game, including goal line work. Seemed like they were starting with Rachaad White. The snap count still favored Bucky, but Rachaad White got 20 plus snaps in that game. Think it's going to keep moving down. Bucky looked good. Bucky looked healthy. There were some mental health reports about Bucky out there that were kind of confirmed by the team. He looked happy out there. I love Bucky, so I just like, even no matter what he does for me fantasy-wise, I want to see him do well, but happy to see Bucky coming up here. Looked good last week. I'm not going to go crazy on playing Bucky this week, but I do think he's a viable play. Aaron Jones with Bucky, JSN, Puka. JSN and Puka, that's fun. Chris Olave, AJ Barner, Dawson Knox, that's less fun. Raiders D. Ugh. I mean, look, Bo Nix could throw a game away, but this was a really fun lineup that got so much less fun when we got to this little quadrant. Number 3, we got Sam Darnold, Josh Jacobs, Aaron Jones, JSN again, Jamar Chase with JSN, Jalen Waddle, AJ Barner yet again, Gunnar Helm yet again, the dumpster diving at tight end. Saints D as well in this one. Number 4, you got a Tyler Shuck lineup with Kenneth Walker. Walker, the new Raiders, Jacoby Myers. Yeah, the projections love. He is a little bit too cheap. Like, I get it, but it is still, again, acknowledging the larger sample size for Kenneth Walker in a way that doesn't really vibe with what the reality is for him this year. But Kenneth Walker in this lineup, Aaron Jones, Jamar Chase, Chris Olave, Zay Flowers makes this one. Juwan Johnson, Brock Bowers, Browns D. And number 5, we got Tyrod Taylor, James Cook, Bucky Irving again, Jalen Waddle again, AD Mitchell makes this one. Mechie, yes, the Tyrod double. Let's do it. Brock Bowers, Quinshon Judkins, Raiders D. Don't mind that. That. Tell you what, man, you play Tyrod Taylor, life gets a little bit clearer. The grass a little bit greener. Food tastes a little bit sweeter or a little bit saltier, depending on what you're eating. Dawson Knox, top ROI player. Again, the Dalton Kincaid not in the data set, so that's a big part of that, I'm sure. And also, keep in mind here, Michael Wilson not updated in Stochastic yet, so he'll be coming up less than I think he would otherwise. Aaron Jones, 20% ROI. Jets D, 8% ROI. Number 3, Raiders D, number 4 to 7% ROI. AD Mitchell, 6% positive ROI for him, despite being pretty chalky. Juwan Johnson, 3% ROI. Geno Smith, also 3. Tyler Shuck, also 3. Chris Olave, over 2. AJ Barner, a little bit over 2. And Jamar Chase, 1% ROI. All these guys have a positive ROI across the entire pool of lineups here for Stochastic. QB stacks the highest ROI. Geno Smith has a positive single stack ROI. But nobody else is positive. Mariota, who probably won't play. Josh Allen behind him. QB double stacks. You got Geno Smith, a 17% ROI for his doubles. Tyler Shuck, a 14% ROI. Tyrod Taylor, my boy, a 9% ROI. Baker Mayfield, 6. Josh Allen, 3. Sam Darnold, 0.4. So Allen, a positive ROI, despite being expensive and mega chalk. And the Bills stack being somewhat perplexing. Triple stacks, Tyler Shuck is the leader here. 40% ROI for Shuck on triples. Tyrod Taylor at number 2 with a 10% ROI. Josh Allen, number 3 with 8. Darnold, number 4 with a 5% positive ROI. And JJ McCarthy at 4. The triple with what? Aaron Jones, Jefferson, or Addison, or Hawkinson. Probably 3 of those 4. Oh my God, a lot of Aaron Jones. Top 150 lineups here have Aaron Jones and 77% of them. Aaron Jones limited in practice, hurt the same AC joint that previously had kept him out, I believe, and had him on IR. But it's not serious, were the reports. So see what happens. It would not shock me if he gets ruled out. You could just go Jordan Mason. I would love to have a consolidated role for one guy. But Aaron Jones has been ahead of Jordan Mason when they both have been healthy lately. It's just the issue is like it is still a timeshare. So Aaron Jones being mega chalk here, 77% exposure, Fields at 18. Jamar Chase, 53% exposure, Fields at 27. Josh Jacobs, 50, Fields at 32. AD Mitchell, 39% exposure, Fields at 15. Dawson Knox, 37% exposure, and the Fields at 8. Big stand on Dawson Knox. Burrow getting any love? People talking Burrow. I think Burrow's going to end up owned based on you guys. Whenever most people in the chat are thinking the same thing, I tend to think that means the ownership's going to be high. But that's just might be superstition by me after years of doing this. Burrow, 5% owned by the field. The sim only wants to get 2%. So Burrow not supported by the sim. Your highest leverage plays in Stochastic data. Then we'll do a single lineup sim here, and we will transition over to the premium video. We got Aaron Jones. You're getting 59% more in the field. Commanders are really bad. Aaron Jones, though, I just don't know that he has enough of that backfield with Mason and himself being banged up. Dawson Knox, 29% leverage here. Again, tight ends versus the Bengals, one of the best matchups in football. You do have Hawes playing the same amount of snaps. You do have Dalton Kincaid still a chance to play this week. That is stuff that would mess this up if you watch it after Friday and this changes. Jamar Chase, 26% leverage. You're getting him a lot more than the field. He's in half your lineups, and the field's only playing in about a quarter. A.D. Mitchell, 24% leverage. He's in about 39% of lineups. Field's at 15. And Josh Jacobs, 19% leverage, a little bit ahead of Jalen Waddle, who's about 15% above the field. Most of the negative leverage plays, Tyler Warren. So ETR loved Warren. Stochastic, less so. Negative 10% leverage on him. Breece Hall, negative 9% leverage. Devon Achane, negative 8% leverage. A fade on him. But he's still making 12% of lineups. RJ Harvey, negative 8% leverage. And Jacoby Myers, negative 8% leverage. Some talk this week about Jacoby Myers being the receiver that they may keep and get rid of Brian Thomas. Jacoby Myers apparently playing the Cooper Kupp role a little bit more for the team, and they're liking what they're seeing out of him doing that. Parker Washington also played a low in snaps with Brenton Strange and Myers kind of shifting his role a little bit. I don't mind Jacoby Myers. I feel like there's some decent tea leaves moving for them, and the Colts seemingly always find ways to score points, even though it does seem like they're leveling out a little bit. Myers, though, big fade by Stochastic. All right, let's do this single lineup sim here. Let me also start the clock on our premium stream transition. Folks love Joe Cool and always feel like a nuke the slate. I agree. It's tough, though, like whenever you see that the cash game is playing one side of the equation, and then you have people like going, oh, like asking about, like, I thought Burrow's an interesting play, but I do worry about him getting a little bit overplayed relative to people want to play that Bills-Bengals game. They're not going to get the Josh Allen side because it's expensive, and maybe they think it's too chalky. They go to Burrow, and that ends up being even chalkier as a result. But, you know, we'll see. All right, guys, let's build this lineup out here, and let me start the clock. 5 minutes. We are transitioning to the premium-only stream, so stay tuned there. Should be coming up right now. All right, let's build this lineup. You know where I'm starting, baby. We're going Tyrod. Tyrod double at the very least here. I think I might do the triple, but I think Mechie, the role is still there, playing a lot of snaps. Price tag's up, but he is cheaper than A.D. Mitchell. I also think Mason Taylor, a guy I can buy in on this week. Now, the question is, do I do this with A.D. Mitchell or do I do it in lieu of A.D. Mitchell? That I'm not sure about. But let's start with the double here. Tyrod, Mechie, Taylor, facing the Dolphins. I'm willing to go back there. Michael Wilson is not going to look right in the data, but I'm going to put him in because I want this lineup to be somewhat evergreen now that we know that Marvin Harrison is out. Let's boost his projection too. ETR had him for 16. I'll make it 15.5. Michael Wilson in. All right. I am thinking HN. We could also go with Waddle. Maybe could go both. Pretty consolidated roles overall. Though Waddle, you know, getting Waller back in, probably not great for Waddle. Like 5,700 left per spot. Don't mind James Cook here, but we want to get a little bit less owned. I mean, look, the Sims are going to reward me for playing Aaron Jones. I do like, if we don't get Aaron Jones in, Jordan Mason. If we do get Aaron Jones in, I'm not going to go mega chalk on him, but I still think he's a good play because Commanders are that bad. I'm going to go Aaron Jones here at RB. Wide receiver. Go to Puka bounce back. I think we're just going to fade Cincinnati Buffalo, which does feel not great, but I'm okay with it. We're going to go Puka, 44.50 left for 2 spots. What defense? I think Broncos versus Geno. Browns versus Ward is also not bad. Ward really looked bad last week. I'm going to go Browns versus Ward. Flex, 5,200 left. This is why Christian Watson's getting in. I'm going to go McLaurin, though. McLaurin had a pretty nice role in that Denver game. Also, zone-heavy matchup going against Minnesota. McLaurin's been a lot better versus zone than Debo. Let's go McLaurin here. The team, Tyrod, Achane, Aaron Jones, Mechie, Michael Wilson, Puka Nacua, Mason Taylor, Terry McLaurin, Browns D. Also, I did small field. Let me quickly just switch this, large field. Hopefully it's still positive, but I like to do this the right way if we can. How you do anything is how you do everything. This is a phrase I live by here. All right, so even higher ROI. There we go. All right, so my final team. Tyrod, we got Tyrod, Achane, Aaron Jones, Mechie, Michael Wilson, Puka Nacua, Mason Taylor, Terry McLaurin, Browns D, Jaden officially playing. Love to hear that. Yeah, I like this team. 64% ROI. Good to go. All right, guys, premium stream coming up here. I will be on Stochastics live before lock on Sunday as well. So if you want more updated information from me, tune in there. My matchup sheet will also get dropped in the Discord tomorrow afternoon, usually around noonish time frame. A little bit before that, a little bit after, depends on how the day is going. But please do help me out. Hit that like button, subscribe. Again, I'm doing the best I can to help you guys, the NFL. Ultimately, just showing you my gambling. That's what the channel is. I'm just showing you what I'm doing every week. Sometimes it works out really well. Tyrod last week. Sometimes it doesn't. Not playing Ryan Flournoy yesterday. But that's the name of the game here. It's football. It should be fun, and I have fun doing this. Hopefully you guys had a fun time, or at least an informative time watching it. Check out Stochastic too. All the stuff I showed you here on screen from them, 15% off. Link down below. Promo code SPLASH as well will get you 15% off. See their entire menu of options if you click the link down below, or just go over there, pick what you want. But all the cheap stuff, all the expensive stuff, it is 15% off over at Stochastic, so please do check it out. Solver, no discount on there. Another great tool as well. Discord, join the channel. If you want to see this video coming up, you better join the channel to see it. And a lot of you guys have been joining off this video, the non-live version. So shout out to you guys that do join. If you want to support the channel, get access to all that stuff, premium video, and my data, please do join the channel for $5 and you will see that momentarily. Follow me at Chris Spags. Follow the channel at SplashPlayPod. Gamble responsibly, guys, even though it is always money time here on this channel. I always miss time clicking that. And I'll be back today. Again, premium video now. NBA video at 2 p.m. Stochastic. I'll be on there today for NBA Live Before Lock as well, and tomorrow, and NFL on Sunday. So you got a lot from me lately, but I appreciate you guys being here. Catch you guys soon. Enjoy your days. Good luck.